Tower defense games are few and far between on console, at least half decent ones. It's kind of telling that an HD remaster of a decade-old game is about the best we've got here in the year 2023. To be fair, we're coming in a touch late on this review, as Toy Soldiers HD actually released a couple of years ago for PS4 and Xbox One. But given that the Switch version dropped in without any kind of promotional fanfare on December 31st, 2022, I'm digging into the toy box, pulling out the plastic army men, and giving this family-friendly wargame a shot. So what's it all about? Toy Soldiers HD is a remaster of the 2010 original, which, and this is me being a proper nitpicking arse here, was actually already HD, by the legal definition of HD. If I've got complaints about the game, it's mainly in the naming than the actual gameplay, though with that being said, I have put enough hours into Toy Soldiers HD to come away with a few select grievances, but more on them later. Toy Soldiers HD is a tower defense game that uses the First World War, also known as the Great War, as its backdrop. But, and this is crucial to keeping the game light and breezy, instead of going for a realistic approach with scattered limbs and spine-chilling death cries, the entire thing is presented as a tabletop game that uses little plastic figurines instead of blood-filled meat sacks. It makes for a cleaner game that can be enjoyed by the whole family, though I would perhaps suggest leaving the younger players in the reserves for this one. It is, after all, still a game about war and death, even if it lacks the actual horrors of war. Your job is to defend your toy box, or as is the case in some of the later levels, toy boxes, from the enemy army. The battlefield, laid out over kitchen tables and bedroom desks, has a number of set locations for your various tools of war, ranging from machine guns to mortars to flamethrowers and gas emplacements. Yeah, it's a bit grim if you take more than a few seconds to think about it all, but it is a fair depiction of the tools of the time, so credit to the developer for sticking to its guns and gases in the name of historical accuracy. The twist with Toy Soldiers HD is that, unlike in most tower defense games, you can get right into the action by taking control of your placed units. The benefit here is that you have free control of where your deadly bullets end up, and as the game employs a kills equals cash system with multipliers for particularly deadly bursts of murder, you can put a few pennies in the piggy bank early on, giving you the chance to either buy extra defences or get a few early upgrades. Another way the game puts you in the action is with its small variety of tanks and planes. On some levels you'll have the option to hop into a tank to help your soldiers out with the tougher enemy armour, or jump in a plane and take to the skies to take out the enemy aircraft and bombers. These vehicles also have another use. On most levels the enemy will have its own towers, with mortars and air defenses. Occasionally these can be ignored, but in some scenarios it's essential to take these out, otherwise they'll bomb and destroy your units, leaving your toy box open to invasion. Taking to the skies and dropping a round of bombs is an effective method, provided you've already rolled into enemy territory with your tank to take out the air defenses. Otherwise your plane will be picked out of the air before you can drop your first bomb. I've often said that tower defense games, one of my favourite genres by the way, are like puzzles, and that's true here. Loading into a level for the first time is to take a walk in the dark, as you can't always know where the enemy will come from, and without scouting the battlefield first, you can't be sure where to place your defences without them being bombed by the enemy. Later levels demand almost perfect planning in this regard, as you'll place a few defences, take a tank behind enemy lines to do away with the pot-shotting mortars and AA guns, and then carefully manage your units with upgrades, repairs, and even changing their direction of fire for maximum efficiency. It's hard work, but it's a worthwhile endeavour that had me punching the air after an hour of fails and restarts that had me thumping my couch out of frustration. Figuring out the method to success, whether it's finally realising there's an enemy mortar hiding behind some ruins, or that I need to sell off one of my AA guns and replace them with an anti-tank rocket launcher for the boss wave, was always satisfying. In terms of what's improved in this HD remaster, you get improved visuals, the DLC, and a few new extra levels, and that's about it. I'm not complaining though, the game looks fine enough and it runs great on modern consoles, but if you've also played the original, you will be hard pressed to notice the visual improvements, and I suppose that's a thumbs up for the original game. A change for the worse though is the lack of co-op multiplayer. The original game had co-op and versus modes, whereas Toy Soldiers HD has no form of co-op multiplayer. There is split screen versus, but I know that I'd prefer to play co-op rather than deal with the fallout that comes from beating my son in any game. It's fair to say then that we haven't played this one 2-player, and we probably won't. Toy Soldiers HD is a fantastic tower defense game that fans of the genre should definitely play. It's easy to learn, hard to master, and there's tons of replayability, with a lengthy campaign, the extra levels, collectibles, achievements, and survival modes, which I've spent a lot of time playing. The controls for the vehicles can be a bit stiff, and the lack of co-op is a big disappointment, but given how few decent tower defense games there are on console, it's easy to overlook the very few shortcomings Toy Soldiers HD brings to the kitchen table. Now, when are we getting Toy Soldiers Cold War? And that is the end of this review. If you battled your way through to the end, well done trooper, and thanks for watching. I hope you found this review useful. If you did, do us a favour. Go on down below, hit the like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already, and give the bell icon a nudge so that you're notified whenever we've got new stuff. I've been Chris, you've been gorgeous, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, cheers my dears.